What's up, my comic comrades? Today we continue our coverage of Tom Taylor's epic new Marvel series, Dark Ages. And I'm just going to say it right up front that this episode will be riddled with spoilers for the entirety of the title thus far. So, you have been warned. For those of you who are new to the book, the story takes place in an alternate universe where the entire Earth has lost the ability to generate electricity, after Doctor Strange opened up a portal to a dimension that emits an endless EMP wave in order to destroy the universal threat known as the Unmaker. Doctor Strange was then killed before he could close the portal, leaving Earth in perpetual darkness. Thus the title, Dark Ages. Anyway, we've already covered the first 2 issues of this series, so if you want to catch yourself up, click the link right here. As for today, we're picking things up where we last left off, so let's jump into Dark Ages issue 3. The issue starts off with narration from Spider-Man saying there was a time before it all burned away, when everything felt right, as we get a close-up of Johnny Storm saying, "Flame on." Spider-Man's narration continues on the next page saying, when the paradise we worked for came together, as we see the reason Johnny said flame on was to boil a pot of tea at a tea party for Spider-Man and Luke Cage's children. Luke's daughter then says, "Whoa." Johnny looks down at her saying, "Yes, I have boiled the kettle, Danny. I once burned so hot I melted through Galactus, but now I boil water." She asks, "What's Galactus?" He tells her, "You don't know who Galactus is?" Peter then yells, "It's a tea party for kids and their closet toys, Johnny. Planetary threats aren't invited." May then looks at Johnny saying, "I think it's awesome that you could boil a kettle so fast, Uncle Johnny." He responds, "Thank you, May." Luke then offers Johnny tea and Peter offers Johnny a stuffed elephant, to which he says, "Why not?" At this point, Jessica Jones comes joining the party with a look of fear on her face, and Peter asks, "What happened?" We are then taken to the Alchemist Caves where Pepper is talking to Blade, Wolverine, and Gabby, saying Tony didn't come home last night. Steve Rogers showed up, they went for a walk, they never came back. Gabby says Captain America wasn't here. Pepper asks, "What are you talking about, Gabby?" She says, "Captain America smells like a sturdy oak table and duty. Someone else was here." Wolverine then says, "Yes, I know that scent. Mystique." Blade then carries Pepper out of the cave as all 4 of them run into the forest. As Wolverine says, "We dealt with a night horde attack on the other side of the city last night. It could have been a deliberate diversion." She then finds the spot where Tony fell, saying he bled a little, but not much. Mystique wasn't the only one with him. Blade speaks up saying, "No," and Stark put up a fight. A lot of vampires died, as they see the ashes on the ground. Wolverine then tells Pepper, "I'm sorry, I know who was here. I know who took Tony." On the next page, we see Doom tell Johnny and Peter, if Apocalypse has taken Stark, we need to recover him immediately. Johnny replies, "I'm surprised to hear you care, Doom." Moon Girl then says, "He doesn't, Johnny. He just sees the threat. Stark is the greatest weapons maker who has ever lived." Pepper then says, "Tony is far more than that, Lunella." And Doom is all like, "Don't delude yourself. His mind is built for destruction." Now, one thing we should mention is that this conversation is all taking place in Black Panther's throne room as he's listening. Doom then turns and says, "T'Challa, the paradise you're trying to create here will go up in flames. We need to retrieve him. In the hands of Apocalypse, Stark is a ticking time bomb." Pepper then speaks up saying, "I will go. I will get him back." Peter and Johnny then offer to go with her. At this point, Sue Storm tells Pepper, "We don't know if he's alive." And while everyone is trying to figure out the next course of action, Doom is in the background saying, "Tick, tick." Johnny finally gets irritated and says, "Could you stop ticking? I get you're doing it for dramatic effect, but this is all dramatic enough already. We have spent years avoiding conflict with Apocalypse and his forces. We can't rush into this." T'Challa speaks up saying, "We do have someone who could rush into this." On the next page, of course, we see that person is Quicksilver. Spider-Man's narration then says, "So the Black Panther sent a scout." The idea was that Quicksilver would be in and out of the base before anyone ever knew he was there, faster than even Apocalypse could catch him. And he could have done just that if it wasn't for what he discovered. As we see, Quicksilver discovers his father Magneto is trapped and powering the Faraday cage. Needless to say, Quicksilver wasn't about to leave his father stranded there, so he tries to use his super speed to free him, but it doesn't work and he gets electrocuted, which knocks him out. Apocalypse then says, "Your defenses worked well, Octavius." He replies, "Thank you, Apocalypse. Should we put him away like the others?" He replies, "No, let's send him back," as we see Purple Man appear. On the next page, we see Quicksilver return back to Black Panther and friends saying, "T'Challa." Black Panther responds, "Quicksilver, what have you learned?" But he doesn't answer. Johnny then asks, "Pietro?" And on the next page, we see Quicksilver is being controlled by the Purple Man, with narration from Peter saying, "We didn't know who we were dealing with," as Jean screams, "His mind, something is in it," while Peter yells, "Look out," with his spider sense going off. Quicksilver then starts racing around the room, snapping the neck of Adora Milaje, while narrations of Peter say, "He was too fast. I couldn't stop it." Johnny says, "Flame on," but before he could blast him with fire, Pietro impales him through the back with a spear. Sue Storm from across the room screams, "Johnny," at which point Jean Grey was able to reach Quicksilver's mind and put him to sleep, shutting him down. But as narration from Peter said, but so much damage had already been done. Damage we couldn't reverse. Sue then runs over to Johnny with him saying to her, "I can't control it. You have to get away. Run," as his flames are going crazy. But she just puts a force field around herself, telling her brother, "No, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not leaving you." Sue also puts a force field around everyone everyone else in the room as Peter continues to narrate saying, "And my friend Johnny Storm burned away. Sue saved so many of us, but despite all her power, she couldn't save him," as we see her hold her brother's ashes with tears falling from her face. Sometime later, we are taken to a recovering Quicksilver who tells his friends, "I knew what I was doing. I could see it all, but the Purple Man, I couldn't control it. Sue, I'm so sorry." Jessica Jones then says, "It's not your fault. It's what Kilgrave does. I know what it's like to have that guy in your head. None of this is your fault, Pietro." Black Panther then asks, "What did you see?" He tells them they have a pyramid full of electricity. They have my father trapped in the middle of it. Panther then says, "Magneto," with Shiri saying, "If I was trying to build a Faraday cage against the EMP and I was an actual monster, that's how I would do it." Black Panther then asks, "Did you see Stark?" Pietro says, "I did. They were working on something, and not just Tony. Hank McCoy, Dr. Octavius, Riri Williams, and Reed Richards." At which point Sue says, "What?" Spider-Man's narrations then say, "That was the information that cemented what came next. Reed Richards and his son Franklin had been missing and presumed dead for years." Pietro then tells Sue Reed was there. He was working for Apocalypse, and Spider-Man's narrations continue to say Sue Storm was grieving. She'd watched hopelessly as her brother died. Then suddenly she was given hope that her husband and child could still be alive, as we see her run out of the room with Jessica Jones saying, "Sue." Peter goes on to say our strike force would be ready to invade Europe the very next morning. Some of us would never return. We are then taken to Apocalypse's base where we see him tell someone they'll be coming. They'll try to stop us, but the voice answers they will not succeed. Apocalypse then replies, "Are the three of you ready?" We then get our first look at a crazy looking symbiote as he answers, "Yes, we are ready to hunt." Now, who is that, you might be asking? Well, with its recent release for the cover of Dark Ages issue 5, Marvel has confirmed that this symbiote is actually the hybrid of Venom, Carnage, and Miles freaking Morales. This is just nuts, but with that, issue 3 comes to an end. Guys, I keep saying it, but this series is so much fun. Tom Taylor is a master at alternate reality / Elseworlds type stories. That is 100% where he thrives the most. Just giving him the freedom to do whatever the heck he wants and taking out whichever characters he wants. Case in point, this issue brought us another dramatic death with them killing freaking Johnny Storm. Anyway, I cannot wait to see what happens next, especially with the reveal that Apocalypse has a Venom and Carnage empowered Miles Morales working for him. I don't know what's gonna happen, but if the first 3 issues are any indication, it's gonna be dope. But what do you guys think of the Dark Ages series so far? Are you loving it? Are you hating it? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments. And that's gonna bring today's episode of Variant to a close, but if you dug today's episode, check out this one right here. And if you like all of our content, subscribe, like, and comment. It always helps the channel grow. But other than that, I'll see you guys next time when I talk about all things comics.